You wake up a few minutes before your alarm most mornings, not because of discipline, not because of an extreme morning routine, but because years of steady habits have quietly taught your body a calm rhythm. Your home isn't a luxury mansion. It's a paid-off house in an ordinary neighborhood where nothing stands out. You bought it years ago at a reasonable price, and over time, its value quietly grew. The mortgage disappeared long ago, yet almost no one around you realizes you're financially independent. Your neighbors see a familiar driveway. Your coworkers see another quiet employee. Even your relatives assume you're doing fine. What they don't know is that your net worth has quietly reached the multi-million-dollar range. You still wear simple clothes, not because they're cheap, because you stopped needing them to say anything about you. In the kitchen, you make coffee at home. Not for the savings, for the pause, a few quiet minutes before the world starts asking for your attention. As the coffee finishes brewing, you spend less than 2 minutes checking your investments. Years of consistent decisions have built something that now grows with very little from you. The market may rise today, or it may fall. You close the screen without making a single change, because real wealth isn't built through constant reaction. It's built through calm patience and the confidence to leave good decisions alone. Most people never notice any of this. From the outside, your life looks completely ordinary, and that's exactly why they never realize they're looking at a millionaire. But the most surprising part isn't the money. It's the ordinary car waiting in the driveway and what it quietly reveals about becoming truly wealthy. You step into a car that's nearly a decade old. A few scratches, worn seats, high mileage. Nothing about it attracts attention, but every morning it starts without complaint. You paid for it in cash years ago, and since then it has quietly done exactly what it was meant to do. At the first traffic light, a brand new luxury pickup pulls up beside you. Polished paint. A deep engine rumble. The kind of vehicle that naturally turns heads. For a moment, you don't look at the truck. You think about the person inside it, not with envy, not with admiration, just curiosity. Because years ago, you measured success the same way. The light turns green, the truck surges ahead. You simply continue at your own pace. Somewhere along the way, you stop trying to keep up. Not because you couldn't, because you finally understood what that race was costing. You still work as a senior project manager. The paycheck is solid but ordinary. To everyone around you, you're simply another employee heading to work. What they don't see is that every paycheck has become optional. Your investments have already secured your future. Work is no longer something you have to do. It's something you choose to do. That quiet shift changes everything. The urgency fades, not the ambition. The urgency, because when your future no longer depends on your next paycheck, your decisions stop being driven by fear. They're guided by clarity. Nothing about the streets around you has changed, but the way you move through them has. And that difference is everything. Later that day, one simple word, no, will become worth far more than any promotion or paycheck. Not long ago, your manager called you into the office with what most people would consider great news: a promotion, more money, a better title. The kind of opportunity many people spend years chasing on paper. Saying yes seemed obvious. But before answering, you asked yourself a different question. What will this cost me besides time? The raise was attractive, so were the extra meetings, late-night emails, weekend calls, and constant pressure that came with it. You had spent decades building a life where money created options, not obligations. So after thinking it through, you politely declined. For a moment, the room fell silent. Your manager looked genuinely surprised. Most people never turn down more money. But most people aren't financially independent. The promotion wouldn't have changed your life. It would have changed your calendar, and you had spent years protecting something more valuable than a bigger paycheck, your time. Later that morning, another meeting appeared on your calendar, a meeting to plan another meeting. You attended without frustration because your peace no longer depended on office politics. During a coffee break, a younger coworker approached you. "Can I ask you something personal?" he said. You nodded. He admitted he was buried in credit card debt and couldn't understand how it happened. You recognized that look immediately. Years earlier, you had worn it yourself. Instead of judging him, you decided to share the lesson that quietly changed your own life. The advice you gave him took less than 30 seconds to say, but it had the power to change his financial future forever. You didn't hand your coworker a complicated budget spreadsheet. You didn't recommend a secret investment strategy or an expensive course. Instead, you shared two simple principles. Save money automatically before you ever see it, and never let high-interest debt become a long-term habit. He blinked. That's it? You smiled. That's the foundation. Everything else is built on top of it. Then he asked, so I don't need to track every little thing? Not at first, you replied. You just need to stop leaking money without noticing it. That seemed to land. Later that afternoon, you ordered a personal finance book that had changed your own life years earlier. Not for yourself, for him. No note, no speech. Just the hope that one day it might change the way he thinks about money. At lunch, you ate the simple meal you brought from home, while coworkers talked about delivery apps and new purchases. Someone smiled and asked, saving up for something big? You shook your head. No, I'm just not spending on things I don't care about anymore. The conversation moved on, but the moment stayed with you. Not because you felt superior, because you no longer felt the need to compare. Later, your phone buzzed. It was your coworker. I set up that automatic transfer. Feels weirdly simple. You smiled and replied with one sentence. Good. Now let it work without you. In that quiet exchange, you realized something important. Real wealth isn't visible in what you buy. It's revealed by what you no longer feel the need to chase. A few minutes later, your phone rings, and the voice on the other end reminds you that money's greatest value has nothing to do with buying more for yourself. It was your sister calling. The moment you answered, you could hear something was wrong. Her water heater had failed, and replacing it would cost more than she could comfortably afford. She tried to laugh it off. But beneath the words, you heard what she wasn't saying. She was already wondering what she would have to sacrifice. Then she quietly said, I'm sorry to even ask. That sentence stayed with you. Because years ago, you had been that person. The one who apologized for needing help. The one who treated every emergency like a personal failure. You paused, not because you were thinking about the money, because you were thinking about her carrying that fear alone. I'll take care of it, you said. She immediately promised to pay you back. You gently stopped her. No, don't turn this into something heavy. It's handled. A long silence followed. Not awkward, relieved. Within minutes, the money was on its way from your emergency fund. For the first time, you didn't think about what it cost you. You thought about what it removed from her. That's when you realized the greatest purpose of wealth isn't buying bigger houses or nicer things. It's removing fear before it becomes suffering. Later that evening, you saw a luxury watch you had admired for months. Years ago, you would have called it a reward. Now it looked like something different, a distraction with a price tag. You closed the page without hesitation, not because you couldn't afford it, because you no longer needed it to prove anything. The greatest reward wasn't owning more. It was protecting the peace you had already built. Before your next purchase, ask yourself 3 simple questions that can instantly reveal whether you're building wealth or quietly giving it away. You opened the product page one more time. The watch looked just as impressive as before. The price had dropped, and buying it wouldn't make the slightest dent in your finances. Years ago, that would have been enough. Today, it wasn't. The watch was no longer the point. It had become a test. So instead of asking, can I afford this? You slowed down and asked yourself 3 different questions. First, will I still want this a month from now? You've learned that excitement fades much faster than good decisions. If the answer isn't clear, you wait. The watch doesn't disappear. It simply loses urgency. Second, am I buying the item or am I chasing a feeling? Sometimes it isn't about the object. It's about the confidence, status, or identity we hope it will create. But those feelings rarely last. What remains is the same person, just with less money. Then came the hardest question. Who am I really buying this for? You sat with the silence. The honest answer wasn't yourself. It was other people. People whose opinions wouldn't matter tomorrow. That realization changed everything. You closed the page, not because you were denying yourself, because you no longer needed approval disguised as ownership. Ironically, this same process has helped you buy things you truly value. Your espresso machine passed every question years ago, and you still use it every morning without regret. The goal was never to stop spending. It was to spend with intention, because every thoughtful purchase strengthens your future. Every impulsive one quietly borrows from it. Looking back, your financial success didn't come from one brilliant investment. It came from one ordinary habit repeated for decades. People assume wealth comes from brilliant investments, perfect timing, or luck. Your biggest financial victory came from something much less exciting. You simply kept showing up. When you got your first full-time job, your salary wasn't impressive. Still, you promised yourself to invest part of every paycheck before spending anything else. At first, it was difficult. You still remember one Friday when your friends planned a weekend trip. You could afford to go, but only if you skipped that month's investment. Standing in the grocery store line, phone in hand, you almost convinced yourself that just this once wouldn't matter, but you made the transfer anyway. Then you went home. It didn't feel like discipline. It felt like missing out. As your income grew, the habit stayed the same. Part of every raise improved your life. The rest strengthened your future. Years passed. Then one evening, while checking your investment account, something made you stop. You refreshed the page twice, then reached for a calculator. For the first time, your investments had earned more in a year than your entire early career salary. It didn't feel exciting. It felt unreal. That was the moment you finally understood compound growth, not as a theory, as a force that had been working quietly for years. Most people don't fail because they invest badly. They fail because they can't tolerate watching nothing happen. You learned to survive boredom without abandoning your future. The results were never sudden. They were simply delayed. On the drive home, one look at your neighbor's lifestyle reminds you that appearances can be incredibly misleading, and that lesson changes the way you define success forever. As you pull into your driveway after work, your neighbor waves from across the street. His driveway tells an impressive story. A new SUV, a boat, a camper ready for weekend adventures, and maybe those things truly make him happy. But years ago, you stopped measuring success by what people parked outside their homes, because of one moment you never forgot. The day your father lost his job. You were young, sitting quietly at the kitchen table while he tried to stay calm. Bills covered the table. He kept reading the same numbers as if they might somehow change. They never did. For the first time, you saw what financial fear could do to a person. Not just their bank account, their confidence, their sleep, their peace. What stayed with you most was one realization. Security can disappear much faster than it can be rebuilt. That night quietly changed the direction of your life. When you started earning your own money, you didn't chase status. You chased stability, not as a goal you talked about, as a promise you made to yourself. A promise that money would never control your emotions the way it had controlled that room. So you invested before upgrading your lifestyle. You paid things off before replacing them. You learned to wait because you understood what impatience could cost. Over time, your life stopped feeling fragile. Now, when you look across the street, you don't feel envy. You feel clarity. Some lives are built to look rich. Others are built to feel free. And freedom rarely shows up in what you own. It shows up in what you no longer fear. But there was one person who quietly reinforced that promise every single day. And without her, none of this quiet strength would have lasted. Financial independence isn't something you built alone. Long before the investments grew or the mortgage disappeared, one decision quietly shaped everything that followed. The person you chose to build your life with, your spouse? At first, they weren't the finance person in the relationship. They used to smile and say, "I don't need to love spreadsheets. I just need to trust the person who does." That line stayed with you because it wasn't blind trust. It was chosen trust. From the beginning, you shared one simple belief. Money should create safety, not stress. But that didn't mean you always agreed. One evening, you suggested cutting back on travel for a year to invest more. Your spouse listened, then quietly asked, "I need to ask you something." You paused. Are we building a future or just postponing our life? The room fell silent, not uncomfortable, just honest. In that moment, something shifted. From then on, once a month, you sat together at the kitchen table with coffee. No phones, no distractions. You reviewed your finances, planned ahead, and talked openly. Sometimes the conversations were easy. Sometimes they weren't, but they were always honest. Because financial stress rarely begins with numbers. It begins when people stop feeling included in the story. Later that evening, as the two of you walk through the quiet neighborhood, one question returns. How much is enough? You once believed it had a number attached to it. Now you know better. Enough isn't a finish line. It's walking beside someone you trust, sharing a future that feels discussed instead of guessed. It's a life you no longer feel the need to escape from. That evening, you settle into your favorite chair with a book before bed. Tomorrow's schedule is ordinary. A few meetings, a dentist appointment, a family birthday next week. Nothing on your calendar suggests you've achieved what many people spend their entire lives chasing. And that's exactly the point. Years ago, you believed financial success would completely transform your life. Instead, it quietly transformed your relationship with life. Unexpected expenses no longer feel like disasters. Market swings no longer steal your sleep. Bad news no longer controls your emotions. Money didn't make life perfect. It simply removed many of the fears that once overshadowed it. Before turning off the light, your thoughts drift to your niece. For years, you've quietly invested in her future without expecting recognition. One day, she'll receive a letter explaining that an account has been growing for her since childhood. She won't remember every gift you ever gave her, but she'll remember the opportunity that gift created. That may become the loudest thing your money ever says. Today looked completely ordinary. You earned another paycheck, spent only on what truly mattered, helped someone you love without hesitation, ignored another unnecessary purchase, and allowed your investments to keep working without interference. No one applauded, no one congratulated you. Most people never notice. And maybe that's what makes it real. By now, the markets no longer feel like a stage. They're simply background noise to a life that has already taken shape. The richest life is often the one that looks the most ordinary from the outside.